Hi everyone. I wanted to make a short video showing you some of the one sentence journals that I used and also a planner journal that I was keeping back in 2019. I didn't actually finish this planner. This is the Desire Map Planner by Danielle Laporte. And these planners are really expensive, but I got it from someone who purchased a couple of planners and she didn't want to use this one, so I got it for maybe like half the price. I didn't actually end up using it the whole year. I think I gave up on it in June. June was the last month that I used it, so that's kind of sad because there was all these additional pages that I could have used, but I decided to keep it because I might turn it into a an art journal later on. So here are some scrap papers that I keep around in journals. I used to make new moon and full moon mandalas before I had the new moon journal. So I used to just draw them. Then I keep little papers that I collected. This is another one of my mandalas for the full moon in Libra. Okay, so the Desire Map Planner had this really nice monthly overview, and I started trying to do like a little bit of doodling and just adding some color. I used to keep notes of, let's see, this. Right here, I used to keep track of the decks I was planning to work with. Also my card of the month and the stone that I was working with, and then if there was like a specific focus that my month had, I would write it there. So for example, January 2019 was about fearless communication, bravely to manifest my desires. Oh, bravery. And then here on the daily, every day box, I would write different notes of maybe things that stuck out to me. Here, this was a time when we were having some really cool temperatures. If I didn't have anything to write, I would just draw something. So this is an example of how you can use your planner as a tiny journal if you don't have a lot of time and you just want to take a really quick picture in words of what's happening in your life. This planner then also had more of the like a daily page, so I would add things in there as well. I didn't really use this planner for like keeping track of meetings and things like that, but I have used planners in the past that I use for meetings, and I will write down like at least my card of the day, or like a quote that I saw that I liked, or something that really stood out to me. So here I was doing more journaling, and then because of how the format for this planner was, they had like a to-do list. You got to say what your core desire feeling was for the day, and then it asked you like what will you do to feel the way you want to feel. You had like 3 priority things to do, a space to keep in mind your body and wellness, a devotion space, reflection on something that's not working, and then something to stop doing. So I also did the daily pages, but my favorite parts were these monthly spreads, and this is what I would encourage you to try if you don't have a lot of time and you just want to begin just having a practice of recording your daily experience. You could do it by maybe pulling a card each day and writing down the message that you got, or if there's just like different things that you want to remember. So I had like a girls' night with one of my daughters because it was the daddy-daughter dance, and I think this year only one of them could go. So this is an example of how you can use a calendar and use it as a journal. So then later on I started adding a little bit more doodles, and I don't know if this was like some kind of sigils that I was learning to do. I really actually enjoy doing this a lot, and I'm gonna try to pick it up again in my current planner where I keep track of my meetings. I do have my, let me show you what I'm doing right now with my planner actually. So this is the planner that I've been using for my personal projects. And each day, at the end of the day, I fill the day out with a spiral to mark it as like a finished day. Let's see, January. Oh, I didn't have this one in January. I think I got it in March. So before getting these calendars, I just bought them online, and they didn't come with the book. I had the book already. But yeah, just being creative, like adding stickers, adding little notes to yourself. Before I had this one, I used to have these undated sheets where I was doing similar things, just adding different things that I wanted to do, different classes that I was taking, notes for different things I wanted to do. So I've really enjoyed just adding color and stickers and more playfulness to calendars. So that's definitely one way that you can create a journaling practice. Here's some more pages. This is May. I wish I had kept up the practice actually. Looks like I did a little bit of June, but then something happened halfway through the year and I didn't come back to this journal. So that's an example of how you can use your calendar as a journal, and for a very quick and simple journaling, like a couple of lines, a couple of words, even a couple of doodles. And here is a journal that I just started this year in February. It's a 1 line a day 5-year memory book, and I purchased this one to use specifically to record things about my daughters and different family things that we're doing. So it has a very each day has 5 spaces for each year. So I usually just do like a couple of lines about what we did. If my daughter said anything funny, I'll try to write it down in there. So this is nice because then next year I'll come back to the second line, and then 5 years down the road, I'll have all of these different, I'll have all of these different memories that we have, that I've kept track of. So that's the 1 line a day 5-year book. And this one I think was like $15. There's a lot of different types of 5-year memory books. I really like this one because of the the gold and the cloud look of the pages. And then my other journal where I just write a couple of lines and snippets is my new moon journal. And this one is my second one that I use. I started using it last year. And I've done a review about it, but it has a few different types of pages. So it has a place for you to do a new moon mandala at the beginning of the moon cycle. Then it has a place for you to write your seeds of intention and other notes that you have. Then it has this circular calendar where you can use different symbols to keep track of different things you're tracking, like your energy level, your creativity, if you spend time with family, if you felt sick, if you felt low energy. Usually keep track of gratitude. This is my gratitude symbol, this one. And sometimes I keep track of my energy level, especially when I feel really like exhausted. I keep track of my creative practices, if I did something like ritualistic to connect with the divine. I also keep track of my mood. So this is the symbol for being moody. This is the symbol for anger or pain. I think with two of these it's pain and one of those is anger. So then it also has this daily observation space. So it's a very small space for you to just write down important things that you observed, and then you can use them to connect based on the moon phase and how you were feeling. Then you start gathering data about your moods and how they are fluctuating with the moon. So I really enjoy this. I usually write down about my energy, notes about my energy, but sometimes I also write a few notes about things that I've done. So this is the other journal that is short snippets that I use. So hopefully this gave you a few ideas of how you can use a planner or a calendar or another short notebook as a way to start a journaling practice. I think this is a good method for people who feel like they don't have like hours or even like 15 minutes or 30 minutes to journal and like sit down and actually journal, but you still want to keep track of things that are happening in your life, how you felt, and your notes about what's happening in your life and how you're feeling. They're useful for your future self so that you can kind of look back and see what you were going through a year ago, 2 years ago. I just found this notebook that I kept not last year, in 2017. I kept this journal, and I didn't realize that this was actually only for tarot readings for myself and for people who purchase them on my Etsy shop. I also was using it for my creative writing challenge that I did back in May in 2017. So I just found it, and I was reading through the different things that I wrote. I had this really awesome short story that I wrote called Awakening the Serpent. That was the prompt that I was using, Awakening the Serpent. And I was so surprised when I read it. I didn't know if it was a dream or what, but I want to type it up and share it because I thought it was really good. And there's this like chant that I wrote, and it was just very cool. So back in 2017, I was not into like colors and stickers, so my journal is pretty bare, but I still had some really cool things that I was keeping track of. There's a few pages at the end. I must have been doing a dark feminine challenge because I have all these questions about the dark feminine, and then my reflections and my card pulls for that. So I'm excited to read that since I've been working with the divine feminine for the last month. So I'm interested to see how 2017 Diana was experiencing the dark feminine, and then maybe I'll use the same questions that I reflected on and see how my experience has changed. Anyway, so I mentioned this old journal because it's like a window into your past self. So you can see what challenges you were going through that maybe are still repeating themselves. And sometimes you can find some interesting things that you didn't even know you wrote that can maybe guide you in the present moment. So I think that's one of the benefits of using your calendar as a journal as well. So just looking back at how I was using this one calendar is making me excited to use my current calendar like this again. The one I showed you doesn't have a lot of space, but I have a bigger one that I might be able to use for this. Let me know what you think, if you've ever used your planner as a place where you write notes for yourself, like little journaling sessions, and if anything that I shared sounds interesting or you have questions about. Thank you so much for watching.